अगर संबंध मेंटेन कर लोगों ना कह जैसे करके मुझे मालूम है आज ही बोल रहा हूँ मैं आपको a few minutes for people to settle and we'll start. Good evening, everyone. We welcome you for this evening's webinar. We'll start the webinar in another few minutes. We'll just give time for some more people who have registered for this program to join. A very good evening to all of you who have joined this webinar on career opportunities in the pharmaceutical industry. So, on behalf of the SRM Centre for Clinical Pharmacology, Chennai, and team P2PC, it gives me great joy to welcome you all for today's webinar. So this webinar, we are having some illustrious stalwarts with us from the industry who have several years of experience. And I would first want to welcome Dr. Sreekanth Gattu, my good friend. Dr. Sreekanth Gattu is currently working as a global program head, Sandoz, Switzerland. And Dr. Sreekanth has been working for almost 20 years in the pharma industry, and he has occupied diverse roles in India and almost now uh, there in Switzerland for Switzerland and Germany for almost 10 years. So he has a very diverse experience in clinical development. And as many of you might be knowing here in this group, he has been instrumental in starting the P2PC and in training several young minds to become equipped to become leaders in the pharma space. And he has so much passion for doing this, and we're very happy to be associated with him from SRM and also as team P2PC to be part of this journey. So I now hand over this time to Dr. Sreekanth to give a brief overview of what are the career opportunities in the pharmaceutical industry, how as a pharmacology, M.D Pharmacology student, you could plan ahead in your career if you're thinking of being a pharmaceutical industry physician. So over to you, Dr. Sreekanth.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Your slides are also visible. Please proceed.
And the slides are clear, right? So there is nothing obstructing.
It's clear.
Okay.
One request from all of the delegates, please switch off your audio so that the disturbance.
Yeah, so let's get started. So thanks, Melvin, for this introduction. So what we are going to do today, I'll tell you in a moment. Before we get into the details, just a disclaimer. So whatever I'm presenting today is basically the opinions and concepts that have gathered over years by me personally, and also by interacting with my friends and professional colleagues, etc. So whatever I'm presenting here is taken from personal experiences and publicly available sources only, and this has nothing to do with my current or previous employers. So just I would like to start with that disclaimer. So what are we doing in today's webinar? So I'm making an assumption that so most of the participants here today are really into either MD Pharmacology students or DM Pharmacology students, are in some sort of a space of pharmacology. So what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about career planning, how to navigate in the corporate space in the pharmaceutical and life sciences industry, and how to plan such a career and what considerations need to be taken into on an individual level when you're planning such a career. So why should anyone have a career plan? Because what you can all do is, as soon as you complete your MD Pharmacology, you can just basically get into whatever first available opportunity that you get, and then basically work there for a couple of years and then move wherever, whichever company is offering you a bigger package or ask for a promotion. That's a typical one, right? So what happens, let's see what happens if you don't have a career plan, and what are the advantages of having a career plan. So hopefully by end of this webinar, we'll with all your questions, we will be able to see at least understand a little bit about advantages of having a career plan. It basically gives you a clarity of thought in which direction I want to take my life, both in professional but also a little bit on the personal this thing. And when is the right time to start the career planning? So some people may say I have to start right from the first year PG. Some people will say, yeah, I'll finish the exams and then I'll get into my first job and then I'll see. And then some people may say, I'll work for some few years to get an experience, and then I have clarity how to plan my career. And sometimes it's like, okay, so I've 5, 7, 10 years, and then now I have more clarity. I figured out different fields, and then I'll start career. And then sometimes I'm on peak of my career, now I need to figure out. The truth is, all these stages are absolutely the right time to start career planning. And because most of you are really in early part of your career, so this is, I would say, a good time to really start planning your career. So whenever we get into the pharmaceutical industry, so you have different domains, or what a lot of companies call as functions or line functions, or crudely as departments, right? So you join medical affairs, or you join pharmacovigilance or clinical research. So what you see on the screen here is fundamentally a general concept. So whenever I join right after my MD, I will be taking up roles which are really supportive, right? So for example, if you join a medical affairs role, be it MSL or medical affairs manager or whatever, right? So there will be someone in the company who is basically leading a product launch, and you are basically supporting this person, right? So here you'll basically start with smaller tasks. You basically understand what the job is, and then you get better at it. So you always start in the supporter role, and then once you gather enough experience and get an idea of what exactly is the job, then you move into a role called as individual contributor. So individual contributor means that you are making a good sizable contribution to the overall work, and without you there is a gap in the work that needs to be done, right? So then this is more like area lead of a product launch, for example. So among the panelists, we have medical affairs experienced panelists as well. So they can explain it a little later when we get into the panel discussion. And then you, after some years, then you understand now how to contribute, but at the same time you also understand what are other people's contribution. So you become a lead med affairs medical advisor, and then you are working with marketing lead, you are working with sales lead, and then while you are working with them, you also understand what they are doing, right? So, and then the next role is getting things done by a team or a function. So then you go to the next level where you are some sort of a team lead or a group head, and you have certain teams or people with you, and it's yes, you need to know the expertise, the functional expertise, but then you also need to know how to get things done, right? So then you are basically making sure that you are helping people to make sure that things are done. And then the next role is influencing an organization or a unit, etc., right? So there you may be something like a manager of managers, or head of a particular department, or vice president, so where you are basically accountable for a big part of the organization, and your responsibility is to make sure that that part of organization delivers. So here are some of the examples of what are these roles are like. So supporter, medical data reviewer, MSL, safety reviewer, individual contributor or medical advisors, clinical research physicians, PV physicians, and getting things done by a team or function. In different line functions, you may be called as medical director, safety lead, team lead, group head, and then finally, at influencing a unit organization, head of medical affairs, head of development unit, or a global program head, something like me, and chief medical officer. So these are the kind of roles where you can influence a big part of the organization. So that's about the corporate space. But then, very briefly, to talk about motivators and incentives. So nowadays I'm seeing everybody, okay, so what is my package? I want to see, I will compare with my peers, and then I go for a biggest package. And it's a pity that people jump onto the package without having a sight of how my path is. So okay, that's good. So just want to spend some time on how to differentiate right at the early stage, what motivates me versus what are my incentives, right? So usually the package title, these are short-term gains. Then you of course you need some sort of basic hygiene for your safety, and then your family safety and all those things. So incentives are definitely important: salary hike, titles, designations, company car, bonus, cash, etc. But over a long run, so these things get saturated very quickly. So you will keep on jumping company to company in an effort to chase the titles or chase the salary. But then trust me, speak to people who are in the industry for about 5-10 years. You will say, okay, so paisa hai, but then what really motivates me, and those are the things which are job satisfaction. And if you're working in a clinical research, getting a drug approval, getting a clinical trial completed, you do something which benefits to the team or benefits to the society, and recognition. So these are the things which really motivate people. So this is just a visual presentation of what is happening now. So a lot of people, so this is a Maslow pyramid, right? So this is how any human being would react. So you want the basics, and then you want a little bit more for the comfort, and then the preference typically go to family, friendship, intimacy, self-esteem, achievement, problem solving, etc. But because of the distractions, what happens is most of us get stuck in the second layer of this Maslow's pyramid. So our intention today is also to push you to think beyond a little bit. And then moving on to, how to plan a career. So, this is again from a good book called as How Will You Measure Your Life by Clayton Christensen. And he follows something called as an deliberate strategy and emerging strategy. So deliberate strategy is, if I'm a second year or third year PG, I say that this is going to be my first job. I'll spend 2 years or 3 years in my first job, and then move on to my second job, and then I will learn XYZ, and then this is my third job. So I already have a plan on what I want to do in my 5 years, and then I get started. So that is a deliberate strategy. And then you get into working on it, and then after 2 years, you wanted to become, let's say you join as an MSL, and then after 2 years, you want to get promoted to the headquarters as a country medical advisor. But then you get opportunity into, let's say, marketing space, or you get opportunity as an MSL manager or something like that. So this was not in your plan, but if you pick it up, if you keep your mind open, then you can definitely pick it up, and then you will still have a growth, and conceptually you will still be on a good path. So have a deliberate strategy, but then also be open to an emergent strategy. And it is a continuous process. You have to, you start your plan in, for me, I personally would say in first year, second year of your PG period, and then have a 5-year block plan, and then after 2 years, 3 years, every time you just see how job market is evolving, what you are learning, and then do you want to change what you want to do, right? So what is also important here is whenever you are moving from one role to the other role, you need to build skills, you need to learn, right? So money will come anyway. So the real growth will happen when you are actually building your skills and improving your profile as a whole. So here, what I have done for the ease of discussion is I categorized skills into 4 boxes here. So one is functional skills. This is what you will basically learn also during your MD period a little bit, but then you will start working on it later. So clinical trials, biostats, publications, etc. And you will continue to do this in your first job as well, in the first 3-4 years, right? And then, so there is something called as operational skills, project management, budget management, resource management. And then another thing is the people management. So people management is like if you become a team lead. So how do you manage your team members? And how can you push people to make decisions and all these things? And then there is something called as strategic leadership skills. So where you really zoom out a little bit, you really think from, okay, so what exactly is this company trying to achieve, and how can we support this? A company who is trying to work on, let's say, stem cell therapy. So the company's vision is to make a treatment paradigm shift in, let's say, multiple myeloma patients using stem cell therapy. So a strategic leader will say, okay, so if I want to achieve this, if I want to help patients with this medication, how can I operationalize that? And then how can I inform the team members to make sure that they can come in this path? So as you grow from your first year in the organization and so on, always keep focus into what exactly I'm learning. How can I put that into different skills? And then as a consequence, how are you building your profile as a whole? And just to see, a lot of people ask us like, I'm doing my MD, should I go for an MBA? Right? So my usual response is you do your MD and then get in, start your industry with the functional ones. And then after some time, you will definitely get exposure to these skills and then do the MBA. And then, then it will, really give you a push to your career. But at the same time, there are some people who really want to go into the marketing and business side. And I know, even my friends who have completed MD Pharma immediately joined an MBA, and then they never came back into medical affairs, pharmacovigilance. So, right, they really got into business side of it. So every skill that we are talking about has its own position. So for example, if you start as a medical advisor, you are expected to know more functional skills, a little bit of operational, and a little bit of people management. And then as you grow here, you can see the expectancy of functional skills is becoming lesser and lesser, but then the management and leadership skills have to be there, right? So that is how, as you grow, you build these skills, and then the more skills you acquire, automatically you will definitely grow more. So Tejas is really busy in scrapping the slide deck here. So and then on the right hand side, just to give you a comparison, these kind of things are also applicable to Kavya, can you do something about this? People are playing a lot with the tools of
Sreekanth, you'll have to go and put it as disable annotation for others.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not doing that. So then, just on the right hand side, the same thing applies even if someone chooses marketing, right? So you need to have a functional leadership, and then as you grow up, you will have to develop people management, operational and strategic leadership. Okay. Just moving on. So then, understanding these skill sets, how do I plan for a career? So what you need to do is, where am I right now? And where do I want to be in about, let's say, 5 years time, right? So I will join as a medical advisor or RMA or MSL. And in 5 years period, I want to be senior medical advisor, right? So or therapy area lead. So fixate on that. And then see what exactly is the gap. What is the training need? What skills should I learn if I want to be ready for a therapy area lead? And then you put down a plan. And then once you have a plan, then you train for those future roles. So typically that is a sequence. But then how does that look like? So what you see here is what I call as fundamental unit of a career plan. So you take a pen and paper, and I'm taking more of a medical advisor, medical affairs space here. So for a first year PG, as soon as they come out of MD, they join the industry in medical affairs. In first 2 years, so you always need to split into short term, mid-term, and long term. The short term, what can I do and learn KOL engagement, learn advisory board, publication strategy, etc. And then from 3 to 5 years, I want to become a therapy area expert, or I want to lead a medical team. I want to get better in project management. I want to get better in budget and resource management. And then after that, my long term, from 6 to 8 years, I want to expand more. So I want to take care of more than one product, a portfolio probably. I want to be a strategic leader within the organization, or maybe across the organizations in cross company industry forums, or you want to become some sort of a internal thought leader where people can come to you as a super SME or something like that. And just taking the example of, okay, so there is a medical advisor and then a lead or senior medical advisor. So how do I know how to build? What is my training gap or need, and then how do I build that, right? So then just taking those assumptions or visuals here. So you need, for a senior medical advisor, you need to have more of these two skill sets: the management, people, and resource management. So this is what is expected from a medical advisor. I'll take a. This is what is expected as a medical advisor, and this is what is expected as a senior or lead medical advisor, right? So you need to know this, plus you need to know this, right? So the first step is to really understand what skills are required. So take a job description and then look into the bullet points, and you will get these things. And then, that is once you join the industry, but then also most of you are students, right? So how do I plan then? So you are an MD student with literally no hands-on experience, unless you have already worked in the industry before joining MD Pharma, right? So most of us, let's consider RMA or MSL as a first job. So you may have some theoretical knowledge and then a little bit of management in terms of if you are doing a thesis, that's a project as well, right? So as an MD student, you are expected to work on thesis, You need to know therapy knowledge, publications, classes, ADR reporting. Then how can I move into this space? As a medical advisor, I need to know all these things. So how do I do? So what I will try to do is, as a student, now that I know this, can I build it while I'm still a student? Right? So then I look at, okay, so from this list, what are the things that I can already do while I'm a student? So KOL engagement, just go and talk to a clinician to really understand what is important for him or her. Organize CMEs and symposia, review promotional literature, do some sort of a clinical research, your thesis. All these things are nothing but what is expected from a medical advisor. So when you actually do something and produce documented evidence that you have done this, and then you go and talk to in interviews, then you are not a fresher anymore, really. Right? So these are the training gaps and needs, and then that is how you explore. And very quickly, talking about the training plan, there is something called a 70-20-10 rule. So this is a very well-known learning model, taken from a career architect development planner. It's a concept basically which a lot of institutions and organizations are following this. So what is 70-20-10? So all the formal learning that we are talking about, so everything that you read, write exam and certifications and workshops, all those things are literally formal learning. They actually contribute only 10% to what you are actually learning. And then the 20% is called as social learning. So you go to a conference and then talk to people. Okay, so if there is someone, maybe you are in a first year PG and then there is a third year PG who has basically done a fantastic thesis in asthma, and you also wanted to do some thesis in asthma, you just talk to this person and then learn how he or she has done it. And that is social learning, right? And then you can similarly talk to people in the industry. I want to let's say join pharmacovigilance, and there are a couple of people in the panelists today who have worked in pharmacovigilance. So I'll talk to them and then I'll understand what exactly happens in pharmacovigilance in first 5 years of anyone's career, and then I will learn. So this is social learning. And then the third one is 70%, which is experiential learning. So where you actually do it. So you do and then you learn. So this is the best form of it. And when you do something, we really know that you know it, right? So that is how you actually acquire your skills. So that's basically leveraging this 70-20-10 model to build the skills and learn, and then that is how you grow basically. So I'm coming close to the end of the presentation, and as I'm moving through, before we open it into the panel discussion, what I really want to say is, try to change the way you perceive and act, right? So if you just get into a maze directly, you really don't know in which direction you want to go, because in a maze, you want to start here and then end there. But then the only way that you will pass, if you don't have a vision, is you go in a direction, you hit the roadblock, you come back, and you are losing a lot of time. But then if you really zoom out, and really see the big picture, and this is what we are trying to do here a little bit. This webinar today is first in that effort to make you think and see the big picture, so that you can plan it in a better way. So in that direction, me and Melvin are working on this certificate course, and here I will hand it over to Melvin, who will tell us how this course can actually help in getting that big picture, and anything else about the course as well. Melvin, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sreekanth. So basically, this is course that is a hybrid course, because we understand that all of you are there in different parts of the country, and primarily your engagement will be with your host institute. So this is a hybrid course that is going to be running for 6 to 7 months. Primarily, you'll be dealing with webinars. These webinars will be happening almost twice a week. And usually you'll be given the schedule well in advance, so that you could plan your other activities accordingly, and it will be on the evenings. So this course is revolving around 3 core areas. That is, one is the clinical development, and pharmacovigilance, and then the medical affairs. Primarily, it concentrates on these three main domains. And for each of these domains, we have renowned experts, both from India as well as abroad, who will be handling these sessions. So you get an opportunity to interact directly with people who are working in the industry for several years. This would enable you to understand each of these roles and even the positions that they are currently engaged in. You will get a bird's eye view of how the pharmaceutical industry actually works. We all know that when you are doing M.D Pharmacology, this is something that is not traditionally part of the regular curriculum. It is our basic MD curriculum as per the NMC guidelines is more catering towards being an effective academician, though it does give a lot of basics about how to be effective in clinical research and clinical trials and ethics as well. So through this course, you get the opportunity to also do some hands-on exercises, which will be given by the different faculty members. So these hands-on exercises will enable you to understand how the industry works practically in the different domains. And at the end of the course, you will be coming face-to-face for a face-to-face session, where you will have an exam as well as a 4-day workshop. So this 4-day workshop, each of the days we'll be handling clinical development, med affairs, pharmacovigilance, and then career development. All these aspects will be taken up. And there was also an additional 2-day face-to-face session that will be happening at the beginning of this year. That is in August 2024. This is something more to train us in soft skill development. So essentially, there's going to be 2 offline modules and the rest will be fully online modules. So effectively, you'll be having only for 5 days plus 2 days. So 7 days of engagement offline. All the rest of the days are online engagement only. So it is not going to be that much of a stress for you as far as you're taking leaves and all that from your academic place. And at the end of it, you will be given a certificate, of course, stating that you have gone through this certificate course in pharmaceutical development. And that definitely gives you some kind of head start as far as understanding how to enter the pharma industry space. And of course, in the long run, eventually, when you start applying for jobs, it will definitely be something that is going to speak for itself. And of course, we want the candidates to also engage very actively so that it's not just a certificate that they're holding, but it's what they gain through the certificate over the period of 6 months that speaks for itself. That's the kind of confidence that we have seen in the first batch of students, which have just passed out a few months back. So yeah, and we are starting the classes sometime in the first week of August. So we are having the entrance examination begin sometime in the middle of next month. And once the candidates are shortlisted, they will be informed, and then there'll be an interview, and the classes will begin from the first week of August. So if there are any questions that you have related to this course, or even any general questions that you have related to what Sreekanth has just spoken, feel free to share about this now. You can ask. The floor is now open. And before I talk about that, before I open the floor for discussion, I will also introduce the other panelists that we have this evening.
Yeah, so Melvin, as you are introducing the panelists here, I just wanted to also point out that a couple of panelists here are some of these people who actually took the same course in the past, right? So Shweta and Shovan have personally went through this, and while during as course of the panel discussion, they can also share their experiences if that helps participants here.
Yeah, thank you, Sreekanth. So The first panelist is Dr. Manthan Mehta, who's now working as a program head at Fitterfly Mumbai, and he has a very vast experience in medical affairs space for more than 5 years, and he will be with us. And then we have Dr. Shovan Padhy, Group Lead Medical Safety Operations for Novartis Hyderabad. And we have Dr. Shweta Surve, Medical Affairs Manager Oncology from AstraZeneca Mumbai. So thank you all panelists for joining this webinar and sharing your valuable expertise with the students. So now the floor is open for discussion. Students, please type your questions in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask your question directly. Yeah, so the first question I can see here. I am a final year postgraduate M.D Pharmacology student. Will it be the right time to enter the certificate program as my exams will be in May 2025? Yeah. So, Sreek, should I take this up or you want to take it?
Yeah, just go ahead. I think, when it comes to the academic schedule, Melvin, probably you're the better person to comment on that. I would only say, if you typically plan, okay, so this is my course, and then I will start, you are already, behind the competition. There are a lot of people who are already ahead, right? So yes, it's not going to be easy. So we all have to stretch if we really want to achieve something that we want. But Melvin, in terms of how does that fit into a schedule, please, Melvin?
Yeah, so looking at what you have said, you're saying that your exams are in May 2025. I understand you will be busy now with your thesis related works and winding up the thesis. So it's something that you have to take a call because you have to take the extra effort to see how you can balance both. So it's a challenge that you should be consciously taking, that it's not going to be easy and there's going to be a lot of pressure to give up this course. So if you're someone who can easily give up, it may not be a very wise thing to do, but I would suggest strongly that if you have the passion, you should go for it, because one thing is you will be able to apply this, whatever you learned, immediately after you complete your course, because by the time you finish, it will be February, March, and then May is your exams. And by the time you go and start looking for a job, it will be this course would have been very fresh. So that way you have an advantage. So keeping that in mind, I would encourage you that if you have the interest for it, go for it. But of course, evaluate how much you can really balance all these things. Okay, I'll go to the next question. I'm a final year. Okay, I'm currently in my first year. Which year is the best for doing the course for better use of this course? Yeah, so I think again, I wouldn't really say that there is a specific year that would be the best. It all depends on how much you can take it up. Second year does look very ideal because you would have got some kind of understanding of the subject also. And at the same time, you don't have that much of a pressure as final year because of the thesis and the exams. So second year does seem to be ideal, but I mean, nothing stops you from taking up at the course even in first year, because the simple fact that you really have more time. So if you have the passion and you're in first year, go for it. I mean, you have nothing to lose.
And Melvin, if I can add, this course also has the first module, which is on basics, right? So this really helps also, everyone to catch up, because there will be people who are in first year, second year, third year in the course. And, before we go into all the industry related modules, it will be good if everyone is brought up to speed, and the basic module does that. So Melvin, if I remember correctly, the course is basically designed in such a way that, to make sure that everyone is at the same level, and then, no one really struggles for the remaining 3 modules.
Yes, so the initial sessions are going to cover on the basics of clinical research, biostatistics and all that. So there will be some fundamental sessions also to start with, at least for the first 1 to 2 months. And subsequently, you will have the industry related sessions. So you don't have to really worry much about that. Okay, now we come to some more interesting questions about If I am a person who wants to get into the pharmacovigilance space, what are the must-know things if I want to get into pharmacovigilance or medical affairs? So I will ask Shovan to answer the pharmacovigilance and Manthan and Shweta to take up medical affairs. What are the must-know things if I want to get into these domains?
Thanks, Dr. Melvin. I hope that I'm audible here.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So I think pharmacovigilance, and if you are a MD pharmacology student, first thing is that you should have a good therapeutic knowledge because pharmacovigilance is one field where pharmacology is tested every day. By meaning of therapeutic knowledge, you should have a good idea about the adverse drug reactions and what is the mechanism of actions of the adverse drug reactions, basics of pharmacovigilance, how does the ICSR reporting happens, how does the causality assessment takes place, and maybe the PV reporting, PVPI pharmacovigilance program of India, how does it takes place and how does the reporting takes place. Some basic knowledge about signal, what does a signal means, how does it gets mitigated into a risk, and what are the different risk minimization measures. And you need to, if you want to get further details, it's most easy is to open any drug label and try to correlate the various sections which are present in the label, and maybe check where pharmacovigilance works out. And as Dr. Sreekanth mentioned, 20% social learning, that is networking. You should be in contact who are already placed in pharmacovigilance industry. They can be a good guide to help you there. Hope that answers.
Yeah, thank you, Shovan. So Manthan, you would like to take the question on medical affairs?
I think Shweta can take this up.
Sure, Manthan. So I think what's most important in medical affairs is, and when we start as a fresher, the most commonly roles are as an MSL or an RME. And the most important skills which we need there are, we need to have our one-to-one with the HCPs. So our communication skills is something which is very important. We need to have very strong presentation skills. Another aspect is a very good hold on science, because when we are presenting whatever is being discussed, we need to be backing it up with science is very important. So I think these are the first most what they see in a fresher is whether the candidate is has a very good communication and presentation skills. That's most important. And of course, during your PG days, if you have been part of various presented during seminars, interacted with different department HCPs about the various scientific evidence, the latest updates. I think that's a good start to the career in medical affairs. And of course, Manthan, you can add in if there's something in addition to this.
No, I think you've covered it all. I think it's about, besides the basic things, like you said, it's more about a desire to learn and also to adapt, to how things are going. Like communication is key and have a strong base. Also like to add, statistics is also one part if it's, you should know, because when you discuss research papers with people, that knowledge has to be strong enough. So those are a few things you can do while you are in your residency to get these rules.
Okay, thank you, Manthan and Shweta. So, Sreekanth, I have a fundamental question. So, I imagine I'm a person, an MD pharmacology student, and I just know that I want to be there in the industry, but I'm kind of confused as to which domain to take up. So, how would I take that decision?
So what I would suggest to students like that, and when you're taking up MD pharmacology, so most of us take it without any choice. We didn't get anything else, and then we are in pharma, and we may not like it. That's how a lot of people ended up in this one. So it's quite natural to have that confusion, right? So by and large, the industry is divided into these three basic domains: pharmacovigilance, medical affairs, clinical research. And there are other things as well: digital coming into it, marketing coming into it, management, business, etc. But these are the fundamental three big groups, right, or functions. So what I would suggest for someone who knows that I want to go into the industry line, spend first 6 to 9 months of a first year PG period to really explore what is there. So it can be as simple as, okay, so if if there is medical affairs, what jobs are there, and in each role, what exactly do they do? And then repeat the same in pharmacovigilance, medical affairs, and clinical research. That's it. So as you keep exploring like this, you will get to know more information, and as you know more information, you will start forming opinions, and then you will know sometimes, okay, so this fits me more, this doesn't fit me more. So some people are very science oriented, right? So I really want to be hardcore into the science. Those kind of people can go into the pharmacovigilance line. And then some people are like, yes, I want to be good in science, but then I would like to be a little bit more dynamic and vibrant, meet people, get things done. So medical affairs is a space for them to be. And then for some people, the drug discovery, drug development is the passion. It's innovation, creativity. Then those people can go into the clinical research side. So explore, learn, form opinion, talk more, keep talking more. And my biggest suggestion is attend all possible workshops, conferences. Melvin, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Your department professors will always say you are attending too many workshops, conferences. Don't leave any opportunity to learn or network, right? So meeting people, talking to people, and attending these things always help.
So I would just like to add here, if you don't mind, Melvin. I think, and Sreekanth very rightly pointed out, I would really like to talk about this course here. There are a lot of people who came for this course. And I can tell you from my own experience where I was very confused about what I want to do after I complete my PG. Of course, it was not completely blank. I did have some thoughts and ideas in mind. But when I was being a part of all the webinars, then all the hands-on modules, as well as the face-to-face modules, I think that gave me a very clear picture of, how actually medical affairs works, or what actually happens in clinical development, or what actually goes about in the whole PV space. So the whole course, because it's hands-on, and you do each part of the career in pharmaceutical industry, you're trying and working on each of these spaces on each of those days. I think it gives you a very better and clearer picture of what you really like and what you're really passionate about. So that is something which I just wanted to add from my own experience.
Yeah, thank you, Shweta. So there's another question. I think many of the students have this doubt that when student MD during the MD pharmacology, they're going through 2 months of industry internship. So then what does this course really have to offer besides a 2-month internship and industry experience? Can it really do something more than what that has given?
Melvin, I think Shweta and Shovan might be the right people to answer this, because they have gone through the course, but then they have also seen very recently students going through internships. So probably, I don't know, Shweta, you want to start, and then Shovan?
Yeah, so Shohan, maybe you can go ahead and then I can add in.
Thanks, sure, Shweta. So I think here, if I have to ask that what the course offers versus something in internship, so it again, internship is variable. It depends upon company to company what they offer. But as a standard, what the current course offers is that a dedicated workshop covering all the three important pillars what Dr. Sreekanth rightfully mentioned, and it gives us a good glimpse and good hands-on about the various pillars of the activities like clinical development, how to create a target product profile, protocol, concept sheet, etc. And similarly for pharmacovigilance, right from the basic of ICSR reporting to signal assessment to risk assessment, and similarly for medical affairs as well. So a lot amount of hands-on experience is being presented. What really happens in a, I can tell, in an internship is that you may not be able to get a overview of all the three important domains. Sometimes you might get internship in medical affairs or in pharmacovigilance or in clinical development, or if you are kind of lucky, you get through all the three domains. What I would suggest is that this is a good course which really helped us understand the core understanding of clinical research focus in these three domain, and also added upon a lot amount of hands-on experience. So I would suggest that this was something different with this particular course. Shweta, if you want to add here.
No, I think Shovan, you rightly mentioned, whenever we do our internship, it is in a very specific domain, either into PV or medical affairs or clinical development for that matter. So I think with this course, you get those hands-on experience on all these three domains. And I think that is that changing point where you actually realize or understand where is your liking, because the course deeply and intensively covers each aspect of these domains, and which gives you a very much better picture of how each of these domains work.
Yeah, and just want to add one important element which I forgot to add upon, and that is about the soft skills. What does this course offers is how to build your soft skills, and that it in itself is a lot of learning. And yes, that was something really helpful during our journey.
Yeah. So there was a question about going abroad. So if I want to go abroad, and which of these domains really offer more options for someone who wants to have a career abroad? Pharmacovigilance or medical affairs or clinical development? Sreekanth, Manthan, any of you want to take this up?
So other panelists, if you want to give a head start, and then I can add.
I think the easy route would have been you take up a course there and then get there. But within the chances, I think it's more of a gamble. Well, which one to pick? You have Sreekanth, of course, who's been there, done that in the domain, but at least the current scenario, looks like it's not going to be very easy for everybody. There is a lot of options post-COVID for people to work on global roles right from here. So if going abroad is a priority, but you'll have to choose which one do you like as well. You might end up going abroad, choosing one of the three, but maybe then you don't like what you've done and you're just abroad. So over to you, Shrikant.
Yeah, so I didn't want to say that, but then I'll try to build on that one, right? So if going abroad is, and it's totally fine to have that as an objective, right? So I want to go to abroad, and I'll be very frank, when I was choosing pharmacology MD, this was also one of my, no matter what, I want to go there, right? So, and it's okay to have that as an objective. So the easiest one, where you have sure shot of getting into that space, is what Manthan said. So finish your MD pharmacology while you are in your second year, third year, already do some research. I want to go to Europe or UK or US, and then pick, okay, so this is where I'll do my master's or second master's or whatever. Preferably go for more than 1 year course, and then you are in the space, you complete that course, and then you tap into the job market there. So that's the easiest one, right? But then you have to spend money to do that, and you are not productive, or you're not earning for another 2 years at a minimum. Now the second way of going there, and this is where it's not so easy, is that you basically get into industry in India, become an experienced person, and then move as an experienced person into these countries. So now here, what kind of jobs or roles will help me to make that direction? So Nepal is also a foreign country. Sri Lanka is also a foreign country. So it really depends on how you define this. there is a fundamental difference in medical affairs versus the other two. When you are working in medical affairs, you are very local oriented, right? So the more you know about products and the more you know about your doctors and hospitals, the better you are. You are more, how do you say, you are a more valuable medical affairs person the more you know local, right? So it actually takes you in a particular direction. You can become as strong at a country level. And then what the typical trajectories that I have seen, and Manthan, Shweta, you can also comment on this, is people work in medical affairs in a country, and then they, most often I have seen moving into the Asian countries, and then they handle the Asia Pacific cluster. Some people move into Middle East and then manage the Middle East and African cluster. And then some people do that and then move to the European cluster, right? So this is one of the path that I have seen from medical affairs colleagues. And this, for some people, I have seen 1 or 2 people who managed to move out of India in less than 3 years. There are some people who managed to move after 5 years. There are some people after 10 years. It really depends on. So remember my slides, how do you build that profile? How do you build those skills? If there is someone who's sitting in Switzerland, wants to hire someone who's working in medical affairs in India, they need to have those skill sets that I'm looking for a role in Switzerland. Are you getting that skill set? If you don't, then there are no chances, right? So that's about medical affairs. Now, pharmacovigilance and clinical research. So this is getting a little bit interesting, at least definitely in the last 5 years, for sure, is there are a lot of GCC, Global Capability Center. Shovan, is that right? Global Capability Center, GCCs. So these are nothing but offshore centers of big pharmaceutical companies. So Sanofi, Merck, Novartis, what is that? Eli Lilly, BMS. So these are the companies whose headquarters is in Europe and US and UK, but then they have a big center in India, and they actually sit in India, but then they are working in the work that is required at Europe and UK and US level. So a lot of people join these GCCs, and then they get in. They're already in the workspace, in the global workspace, and then they basically try to network and then prove to the global hiring managers that they have those capabilities which are required in Europe and US and UK. So whenever there is an opportunity, and then they move. So that's the path that I took personally. But so there is an easy way, there is a difficult way. It's up to you how to choose.
Thank you, Sreek, for that wonderful answer. So now coming to medical affairs again, one of the delegates has asked a question, Shubham. As medical affairs is a diverse field and there are different people from different streams, so will there be any saturation in jobs in the upcoming years? How can that be avoided? So Manthan or Shweta, you want to answer this question?
I think it comes back to the skills and those elements that Sreekanth explained in his slides. If somebody else is better than you at doing those skills, your degree, can only take you so far. When it comes to saturation, I'm sure that's because there is higher demand. That's why they are taking people beyond MD Pharmacs also in medical affairs, where for once it used to be a very strong bastion. And off late we are seeing, particularly for entry level roles, especially in MSLs, etc., is where they are becoming open to dentists, PharmDs, and MBBS as well. Career progression does become challenging, and I think Shweta can elaborate later on that, on people not having an MD versus an MD from that respect. Till there are MD Pharmacs like us in the industry, I think we're going to keep holding fort and prefer MD Pharmacs, but you are not immune to others, and I think we have this discussion every year at multiple forums on how you should not, that sense of entitlement, and to put it very crudely, we develop this sense of entitlement that because I've put in 3 extra years and I am an MD Pharmac, I am entitled to an MA job and nobody else can take it from me. And that doesn't hold true. If you don't have the right skills, somebody else is going to learn it and do it. I personally know quite a few PharmDs who've done exceptionally well and are in region roles today. I also know of dentists who've done very, very well and climbed the ladder. So it's about you and the skills that you develop. Saturation is in all fields. There was a joke once my engineering friend told me that if you hit a stone on the streets of Bangalore, it's either going to hit a stray dog or hit an engineer. So there are that many, and they are all the time now talking about AI and things, not somebody taking away their jobs. So I think two things fundamentally is insecurity and entitlement. If you get rid of both those things and keep upskilling yourself, jobs are all yours.
Yeah. Very well put, Manthan. Shweta, you want to add anything?
No, I think Manthan really covered it well. But yes, definitely, even as hiring managers, of course, the degrees do matter, but as Manthan rightly mentioned, the skill sets, if you do have those you showcase those strong skill sets during your interviews, I think nothing like it. It does give you a preference over the others. And this is from personal experience.
Thank you, Shweta. So maybe this question, any of you can take it up. Is there anything in particular that I should do for having a strong CV to get into the pharma industry? Is there any certificate course that will help me to get into the pharma industry? I think we'll take it as two separate questions. First is how to develop a very strong CV to get into pharma industry, and any about certificate courses, we'll take it up. So anybody wants to take it up?
So I can take.
Shovan?
Yeah, I can take up the first one. So the first point is that what is the meaning of a strong CV? So, so we should be very honest while we are writing up a CV. We should not write down the things where we have not particularly done anything during our MD days. I think day and out we see a lot of CV and we evaluate a lot of CV. People come across and write down a lot number of points which they have not actually done during their MD times, and that is where they land up in problems. So if you want to be honest, and please do write down what you have already completed during the time of the MD. And CV is something where you need to be short and succinct. You don't have to write pages. There are a lot of guidance which is available in the public domain and how to write CV, and there are AI tools also which can help you populate the CV. And at the same time, how Dr. Sreekanth mentioned that whichever role you are trying to aim, try to see that some of the activities you have already done that and it is captured in the CV. Say, for example, if someone wants to apply for a role of drug safety physician in pharmacovigilance, his CV should be pertinent to drug safety physician and should write down that he or she has experience in area reporting, causality assessment, overview of signal detections, risk management, etc., and should not revolve around medical affairs or with clinical development. So that is how you build a CV, and I don't know whether it will help in creating a strong CV at the end.
Yeah, thank you, Shovan. So Sreekanth, do you want to add anything about CV?
I'll say one thing, but I think probably Shweta, you are also a hiring manager position, right? So you can also add to this. But what I would say is, like, guys, look, CV. What can CV do? It will only put you in the interview chair. It will not take you beyond that. If you have good contacts, there are other ways to get that interview, right? So don't worry so much about having a good CV. Follow things that Shovan has said, be honest, and try to show some evidence. But CV will not decide your fate. Shweta.
Yeah. So I think the 20, 70, 20, the 20 part of it is very, very important. I think networking plays a very important role here, and networking not just to ask questions that what can I do, whether I can do this, but actually networking to learn from those people, those leaders who've been in those kind of roles and understand where you stand. I think that will definitely help you. And I think Sreekanth said it, that it will only help you fetch an interview, but beyond that, it would be all what you have learned and what you have done, which will really give you that role.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shweta and Sreekanth. So, in the interest of time, probably we will close in another 5 minutes. So I'll ask Kavya to share the updated brochure of this CPD course. Today is apparently the last date for registering in this course. We are extending it probably for a week. So Kavya, please, you can put the thing in the link about this course. And there was also a question about this particular webinar in the beginning. We had mentioned about but how this CPD course as such is going to happen. Is it online or offline? So for the benefit of everyone who joined late, I'm just repeating this. It's basically a hybrid course, but majority of the sessions are going to be covered online. There's going to be 7 months of the course activity, out of which 50 webinars would be there. And in addition to that, we will be having 2 offline sessions, 2 offline modules. One will be in August for a period of 2 days. It will just be on a weekend, on a Saturday, Sunday. And the second offline module will be in February, mostly first or second week. That will be happening for a period of 5 days. And during that, you will be having the offline modules as well as the final examination, along with your certificate being provided on the last day of the course. So this is what the course is. And yeah, so if you have any other questions, there's one more question I saw, and that was about other opportunities besides medical affairs and pharmacovigilance in the industry. So Sreekanth spoke about clinical development. Besides these 3, are there any other opportunities in the pharma industry, Sreek, or you would want to talk about?
Something because of the GCCs, something that is really popping up a lot is medical writing. Because the nature of the pharmacology PG course also involves abstract writing and publications, posters, etc. So this is a good place also to start with. And I have seen and I know people who have started in medical writing and then went on to move to either pharmacovigilance or into clinical research. And I personally know a couple of people who made it to medical directors position in Europe as well. So it's all about how you get in and then how you branch out and then where you journey. So medical writing is one thing, and there are other spaces like business and commercial and marketing and project management, regulatory, but unless you have some sort of a specialization or experience in this, typically you're not preferred in this. But as you get in, you will end up learning all these things anyway. To get into opportunities, I think these are the by and large, I think 90% of the jobs will be covered in PV, med affairs, clinical research, medical monitoring in the CROs, medical data reviewers, and medical writing. Melvin, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'll just we'll have just 2 more questions. One is about AI. Would AI make any difference? Would it reduce the number of jobs in the pharma industry space? That is one question I could see. So any of you want to take this up, Manthan or Shovan?
Yeah, I think Melvin, I can start from a PV perspective. So I think artificial intelligence, it's something not new today in pharmacovigilance space. It's been there over a while now. So I think what AI has really helped in PV space is that it has added a lot amount of efficiency in day-to-day PV operations, lot amount of case triaging, lot of amount of automations in end-to-end case processing, signal detection. The quantitative signal detection is built on AI platform in itself. And if we go ahead for the routine literature search, or maybe using AI bot to answer some of the PV operations, AI is used. To be very precise, whether AI has impacted job, as of now, no. The answer is no. But yes, believe me, it has helped a lot in the PV professional, where it has made our life easy. Maybe Manthan, if you want to add from medical affairs domain, you can just go ahead.
In fact, more than reduction, I think it opens more avenues, particularly in the digital health space. AI in healthcare is opening up, and for medical affairs, traditionally, I don't think there is any difference that AI will make, except from a process perspective, which makes redundant things easier. And anyway, we were not vying for those kind of operational jobs, so it doesn't affect you there. In fact, it opens up avenues. A lot of places where they look for medical professionals who understand a bit of technology or can contribute to artificial intelligence and language learning models, etc. You can upskill yourself by simple courses. Google has their own free courses. There are many you will find on Coursera as well, and on YouTube as well, if you just look it up from right sources. So if you know a bit of AI or digital health, if you are like starting out right now, the coming few years will be a lot about AI. And if you know a little bit about it, it will give you an edge in explaining and justifying, just provided you've done the course properly and not done it just for the certificate at the end.
Yeah, thank you, Manthan. So the last question, Shweta, I want you to take this up. So what is your opinion about MBA, pursuing MBA? Will it really be a value addition to pursue a job in the pharma sector?
So, what I believe is that, and I can give you from medical affairs perspective, that it will definitely help you in your career journey, in your role. But whether it would be a value addition, you cannot say. It will purely depend, because a medical affairs role is purely based on the right kind of skill set, the right kind of mindset, and the right way of working. So I think no learning goes in vain. But how that MBA really helps you in your medical affairs role will be the key factor for you. So is it a must thing to do? No. Is it a good thing to do? Definitely yes.
Yeah, thank you, Shweta, for putting that so well. So now I would just want all the panelists to give their final thoughts on, as such, what would they want to say to the budding pharmaceutical physicians of the future. We'll start with Shovan first, Manthan, Shweta, and finally Sreekanth.
Thanks, Melvin. Maybe I can state that the best way to predict future is to create. And there is an opportunity. There are a lot of learning platforms, and I think Dr. Melvin did mention one among that. But as an MD pharmacologist, what I would always urge is that please do also learn about your basic core clinical research and basic pharmacology, which is one of the most important element. Do try to also add upon the various elements, as Dr. Sreekanth mentioned, where you want to focus upon. Be curious. You may not be able to figure out at the very starting of your journey where you want to go. And also, while you learn, it's also important as a pharmacist, if someone wants to pursue a career in pharmaceutical industry, equally the soft skill plays a role. So you need to have a balance of everything. So yeah, I think pharma industry is having a great future ahead. So stay tuned. That's what I can state, and all the best for everyone.
Thank you, Shovan. Manthan.
Thanks. I'll keep it brief. I think Shovan has explained it quite well. I'll just say, it's never too early nor too late to plan. So whether you are in your first year or you are passing out. It's never too late to know things, to understand. And we are a small community, so to say. It's easy to network, find things, and most people are helpful, right? And reach out to people, stay connected with them, stay updated on what's happening. Don't stop upskilling yourself, and don't feel that you are lost and you need literally a lot of hand holding. There's a lot of things you can do by your own with some guidance, and there are many people around who are going to help you out. So just ask.
Yeah, I think it's covered. Just one thing which I would like to say is that as a pharmaceutical physician, the career trajectory or the career growth is vast. The kind of opportunities which you have would be immense, not just in vertical moves, there'll be lateral moves. The kind of ladder you want to take up, that you can decide, because you have both. You'll have the skill sets as well, and you will have the science as well. So I think that is just to complete our discussion for today, if that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Shweta. Sreekanth.
Yeah, my juniors took all the nice words that I wanted to say, but maybe just to re-emphasize, you are on the right path. If you are in the pharma space, and if you are joining this webinar to understand, then you're already in the right direction, right? So just plan it through, think it through, and then this is a marathon, right? So don't get distracted by interesting titles or pay packages. Learn as much as you can, plan it well, and leverage all the industry contacts that you have. And also addressing a couple of questions, will this get saturated, that gets saturated? Always remember the theory of natural selection by Darwin, right? So it holds true. It held true a few decades back. It is still true now. It will continue to be there, right? So you only have to make sure that you remain relevant. And this course is also something that helps students how to become relevant relatively early, and how can they differentiate themselves from others. So all the best to everyone who are in this space, and we're all here to help you make sure that you reach your goal. Melvin, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sreekanth, Shovan, Manthan, and Shweta, for so beautifully putting it and answering patiently to all the queries of our delegates of this webinar. So once again, I would also want to reiterate that as a MD Pharmacology student, you have several opportunities that are there all through the year. So look forward to actively grabbing them, including this one, which is in front of you now. Grab it with both hands. And some just closing announcements I would like to make. One is to thank, of course, the panelists of this today, and also the organizing committee members, Kavya, Manthan Mehta, and Navina, for making this small event happen. We look forward to seeing all of you in future events also. And this video recording of today's webinar will be posted in YouTube. So you can, those of you who missed the initial part, can take care of that and watch it during that YouTube video. Okay, so with this, I once again wish to thank all of you for joining this evening's webinar. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.